YouTube, what's good with y'all? I know I'm a little late to the party, but Bandai's releasing Sparking Zero on the Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, there's a couple things about this that I want to go over with y'all. I want to see y'all's thoughts on this because I got my own opinions, and we might agree and we might disagree, but we're gonna see. So, first of all, I think it's possible. It might sound crazy, right? But I think it could be very possible that the Switch version of the game can run better than PS5, Xbox, and PC. PC might be a little bit of a stretch, right? But hear me out when it comes to console though, right? Because think about this. I want everybody to think about this, right? Let's look at it. Let's pull it up. We can play the Nintendo Switch 1 variation of the game on the Nintendo Switch 2, right? Because the Switch 2 version of the game is an update that you can choose to get, right? So think about this. Some of y'all might know, some of y'all might not know, but they tanked the graphics like crazy for the Switch 1 version. The maps are completely different. If you look at the map, like say, look at this versus this, you can see an insane difference, bro. It's crazy. The difference in the maps is like a very large. And the characters, I mean, the characters are a bit different, right? But they're not like, oh, like, you know, character model graphics are tanked. Like, you know, their characters are about the same. But mainly the maps are just, I mean, bro, the difference is insane. Like, look at this right here, right? You can see the difference right here. Puts it in the Switch 2. Boom, right? So, say you're able to take the tanked variation of the game, which we are, right? We can take the tanked variation of the game and throw that onto the Switch 2, right? Now, I'm not super in depth with my knowledge when it comes to the Switch 2's hardware, but I do know it could run games decently based on what I remember from hearing about it, right? So I'm not gonna lie, it's possible that if we as a community can get the majority of people running on the Switch 2 to run the Nintendo Switch variation of the game might actually run good on there. It might, because, and the reason why I'm taking it so serious as far as like this variation of the game is because so far as we know, this is the only way you will be able to get access to this like tanked variation of Sparking Zero is through the Nintendo Switch consoles, right? So say I want to get on this version of the game, you can only get on it through the first and second Nintendo Switch, right? So boom, I want to say if we can all get on the Nintendo Switch, right? Or the Switch 2, not the Switch, and play the Switch version of the game, I'm very interested to see exactly how well the game will run with this variation of the game. Nobody's played it yet. Nobody knows how it's gonna run. Nobody knows if it's gonna run good or bad, right? But when this comes out in November, I'm very interested to see how exactly the game is going to run on both the Switch and the Switch 2. But it's possible that taking the Switch 1 variation of the game and throwing it on the Switch 2 could actually make the game run good. Now, why is this even an issue, right? This is an issue because, as most of y'all may know, on console, the game has a major delay issue. And I mean, PC is really the only way to play the game super competitively in terms of like delay. Like you're actually gonna be, like, it feels like you're playing in mud on console, genuinely. But PC, that goes away if both of y'all got good hardware and good internet, you know? It's a console issue. So, I'm not gonna lie. Aside from simply how the game runs, the Switch is gonna bring a whole new community to Sparking Zero. Now, I know that there's people out there who will say like, okay, if you have a Switch 2, you might also have a console, It might not be all new people. But there are people in the world that only have a Switch or only have a Switch 2. There are people that don't have consoles, don't have a big PC, you know? The same people who are playing on Steam Decks and the same people who are playing on, I don't know, like handheld consoles and stuff like that. Like, those are all new people that we're gonna get. And I mean, that could be good, that could be bad, you know? At least it's I guess I could say it's a route for Bandai to go to gain more players that haven't already purchased the game, which is smart for them. But on our side, we gotta realize that these are about to be a whole bunch of new players coming into the game that are gonna have their own opinions, that are gonna be just picking up the game for the first time. And we gotta realize that could potentially hurt the things that end up changed in the future for the game, because now there's going to be a whole new group of people that are basically new to the game that are having like fresh minded opinions about what to change and what's broken and things like that. I just want to say that could cause issues, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit scared of that. Like, because we already have the community split in half as far as who wants what changed and what's broken and what's not. And, you know, it's a whole issue that has yet to be solved. And I'm not going to lie, it could go good, it could go bad. We have no idea. But I don't know. I'm very interested to see how exactly this is going to run as well. Like, if you can see, like, here, like, lighting is different, like everything is different. It's a whole new scene, and I'm kind of excited for it, not gonna lie. I'm really excited to see what happens at the end of the day, like community wise, how the game runs, all that. And then another thing, speaking of community, it makes me wonder, right, is the game on the Nintendo Switch side gonna be competitive? Right now, I'm not gonna lie, right? At the end of the day, Sparking Zero is a part of the Tenkaichi series, which most of us know to be, you know, like the cool couch play game. But that game in the Tenkaichi series has always had its competitive side to it, right? The Tenkaichi series carries a lot of competitive players behind it, and I feel like, as funny as it may sound, the Switch might have a competitive community. It's possible. I think it's very possible. But at the same time, it's all gonna go back to if the game runs well or not at the end of the day. You know, if the game doesn't run well, I mean, you can't expect for the community to be all competitive behind it because they can't even play the game correctly, you know? I don't know, man. It depends. It really does. But as far as if this will, you know, help the game live, like, I'm not sure, man. I mean, they're dropping this in November, in which case by that time DLC 3 should be out, right? So I don't know, it might be another extra little boost to help the game's longevity. But I was also thinking about that, just like, man, like, I wonder if putting this game on the Switch is really gonna do anything. I mean, it might, like, a little bit. It might help out with, like, I guess, more people around the world playing the game in general, because, you know, people who only have these consoles can now get the game. But I don't know, the game's in such a bad state right now anyway, and people are talking so crazy about the game that at this point, by November, almost want to doubt that people will really pick this up on the Switch if they don't have it already, because everybody's screaming not to buy this game. You know, I don't know, it's crazy, man. It's really crazy, I'm not gonna lie. But as far as enough questioning what's gonna happen and what this is gonna do for the game, I'm actually gonna look through exactly what they said about, like, the updates, specifically about, you know, the Switch 2 variation and things like that, and see what we can catch as far as, like, you know, new information that I myself most likely don't know. But let's see.
We will be releasing an update for the Nintendo Switch version of Dragon Ball Sparking Zero to allow you to play an enhanced version on the Nintendo Switch 2 console. By connecting...
Let me read what that said. That said the update is available for what? It said the update is available for both physical and digital versions of the game. The screen images are simulated.
By connecting your Nintendo Switch 2 console to the internet and downloading the update, characters and backgrounds will appear with improved clarity and richer detail.
Once again, I'm pretty sure you can choose whether or not to do that.
As a point of caution when applying the update, Some save data from when the Nintendo Switch version of the software was played on the Nintendo Switch console can be carried over. But battle replay data, edit data created in custom battles, and online battle records cannot be carried over.
Okay, so they're gonna carry over like all your progress except for battle replays, custom battle, edit data, and then your online battle records, which makes sense because at the end of the day, it's a new console, like it's a different system. I would actually recommend that, especially like if you're able to like mod and cheat on the Switch for whatever reason, and you're like not able to on the Switch 2, then yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Conversely, after applying the update on a Nintendo Switch 2 console, then returning to play the Nintendo Switch version of the software on the original Nintendo Switch console, some data can be carried over, while others cannot.
That makes sense, a little bit.
If you play the Nintendo Switch version of the software on the Nintendo Switch 2 console with the update applied, you will be able to battle online or offline with users who are either playing the Nintendo Switch version of the software with the same update applied, or the Nintendo Switch 2 version of the software.
Okay, so they're saying that on the Switch, wait, do they mean Switch? Okay, so I'm assuming this means that on the Switch 2, you will be able to play against people with the update, like with the Nintendo Switch 2 software, and without, I believe. Let me see.
Or offline with Switch 2 console with the update applied. You will be able to battle online or offline with users who are either playing the Nintendo Switch version of the software with the same update applied, or the Nintendo Switch 2 version of the software.
Okay, so I believe what they're trying to say here is that if you have the update or you don't, you should be able to run into people that also have it and also don't have it. But he did say with the same update applied, so it might not be there. You might, like, if you have the update, you might like only be able to run into people with the update. But I mean, it's linking to both, so I don't know. It's a little weird. I wish they would explain this a little bit better, or maybe I'm just tripping. But like, I believe based on what I'm looking at, this means that, you know, if you have the update, you still should be able to run into people with and without the update, which I don't really know how I feel about it. I feel like it should be locked to each one because hardware issues in Sparking Zero are so prominent. It's such a huge problem right now. So I don't know.
However, please note that you will not be able to battle online or offline with users who are playing the Nintendo Switch version of the software on the Nintendo Switch console.
Okay, that's good. This is really good. So this means that I believe we can run into people with the update on the Switch 2 or without the update on the Switch 2. And also, we cannot run into people on the Switch 1, on the Switch 2. That makes sense. This I agree with. I'm very happy with this because, like, look, I'm not trying to run into people with no old hardware and it's running all funky. I'm not trying to do that at all whatsoever. So I don't know. I'm not expecting the most competitive experience from the Switch 2 or the Switch at all whatsoever. I just want to be able to play the game without lagging to hell. Like, that's really it, bro.
This concludes the explanation of the update for the Nintendo Switch version.
All right. So yeah, that right there is what we got, y'all, for the Switch and the Switch 2. I'm actually very excited. They said the release date is November. This is about a month or two after DLC 3's release, so hopefully we get more info on that. Speaking of DLC 3, I just made a video talking about if DLC 3 would be the end of Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. If you're interested, make sure you go watch that next. And that's gonna be it for today's video. If you like the video, drop a like on the video. If you like any and everything Dragon Ball, I do all that kind of content on my channel, so drop a sub on the channel if you're new. And with that being said, YouTube, let me catch y'all later. See y'all next time. Peace. Lost all my friends, now I walk alone.